Hopefully, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And it looks like everything is up and running properly this morning. Hopefully, that's the case. Today's topic. Oh, good morning, Rosalind. Yay, things are working. I'm so thrilled to see that. Um, I don't know why we encountered some technical issues yesterday, but it's a relief to see that everything's good this morning. Today's topic is, uh, it's funny. It is this moment is part of the plan. So oftentimes we just want to be able to skip through the tough stuff to get to what we think we came here to do, to fulfill our purpose. And fact of the matter is that the tough stuff is part of getting us there, and we don't get to skip that part. And the sooner we learn to embrace it, the easier life will be. But it should be an entertaining and interesting topic. But before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells and your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, and electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together, rub them vigorously, and feel the friction, the temperature, the texture, and allow that energy to flow between your fingers as you separate your palms, and feel that energy and that vibration, and allow that to bring you present right here, right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to be here with you. So today we're talking about this moment is part of the plan. So what that means is that we don't get to skip this moment of possibly anguish or sorrow or pain or suffering or frustration or anxiety. That all of the moments are what make us who we came here to be. So when we think about, this conversation came up because of a conversation with a client who said, I just want to skip to the good stuff, like I'm ready to just be here and do my purpose. Let's just do it and skip all this other garbage. And, it's ironic. It's ironic that it is all that other stuff that puts us in the position to ultimately be fulfilling our purpose, right? That the resistance to being in life as it is to a great degree what prevents us from having the life we desire. It was really interesting because this person just kept saying, well, like, let's just get on with it. And when things don't emerge according to their desired time frame, there's a deep frustration. And I can relate to this profoundly, having experienced that for a good portion of my life, just feeling like, let's just get on with it. Let's, let me do what I came here to do. Just tell me and I'll do it. And what has become abundantly clear is that the time frame that we determine. Good morning, Jennifer. Welcome. So good to have you here with us. We're talking about this part of the plan. Whatever the trials and tribulations are that I'm experiencing in the moment, and the frustrations are part of kind of what's keeping me from being able to be fulfilling the purpose. It was so interesting because, this person was saying, well, I'm trying to make all this stuff happen. And I was saying, well, maybe that's what you need to, maybe it's more about allowing that stuff to happen and knowing that it happens in its time and that we don't get to push the river. And the fact that we are intent upon making it happen is creating the resistance that is pushing our desired outcome away. And, it's kind of a paradox. The more urgently we want something, the more elusive it might be. And it was so interesting because they just could not get their head around that it's when we allow ourselves to flow with life, when we allow ourselves to stop resisting the way that it is, that we then have the greater ability to be fulfilling the purpose we came here to do or be. So, it looks like a paradox, but it is the moments of frustration and pain often that shape us into the role that we came here to fill. So this person said that they had discovered years ago, or had a reading, or and also like a foresight, that they were here to be a healer and a teacher. And they were saying, okay, let's do it. I'm ready. And the thing is that if we were ready, when we say we're ready, then those things would happen. If they're not happening, it's because we have yet to be learning what we need to learn in order to be what we came here to be. So those of us who came to be teachers and healers need to go through the stuff that teaches us the stuff that will teach, that teaches us the lessons that we'll be teaching. So for instance, and my explanation to this person was to say, guess what? You don't get to be a brain surgeon without going to school to be a brain surgeon. You get to go through that training, and we each get to go through the training that is the foundation and the requirement for us to become the person that we need to be in order to be that teacher or healer. Rosalind says, how much of the desire is related to identity? What if the uncomfortableness is showing us what to pay attention to for what happened to us to make us triggered? Exactly. So when we start learning from life, instead of saying, this isn't it, like what's going on, this isn't it, this is a misdirection, this is a waste of my time, this is, this is a waste of my attention. This is useless stuff. It's all part of becoming who we become. So Rosalind says there's a notion that we have to try harder or focus or have more time, how not to criticize self. Exactly. So trying harder is often the impediment. As ironic as that might be, you know, we're in a do it kind of society rather than a be it kind of society. And this person just wants to be able to do it. You know, I was in that space. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. But it's not about that. It's about the shift of being that occurs as a result of the experiences that we've been through. And that shift of being requires a different approach to trying to control stuff. And that was what was going on here. It's like this person and I in my past wanted to control it. It's like, okay, it's time. I'm ready. Let's do this thing. And the truth was that I didn't have the wisdom at that moment because I'd not been through the things that honed me and shaped me and gave me the depth of understanding that was required to be able to get to that place of a deeper humility, perhaps, and a deeper wisdom. Good morning, Lisa. So good to have you here with us this morning. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about this moment is part of the plan. So, like, if we believe, and again, these are not facts as much as they are working hypotheses for me, but if we believe that everything is perfect, if we believe that we've come here for a purpose, if we believe that that it's part of a plan, then who are we to rewrite that plan? You know, what we can do is open our hearts and minds and willingness to participate, you know, to be present, to be flowing with the unfoldment of that purpose, right? And so, you know, we experience impatience, we experience deep suffering, and some of us have a higher threshold for suffering than others, and oftentimes those are the people that get beat up even more, like profoundly, to get to the point where all of a sudden there's a letting go of all the stuff, all the viewpoints, all the perspectives, all the willfulness that is holding us in that pattern of suffering, you know, where something just breaks. And it's in that breaking that we find ourselves, you know, where that will to make it happen, to make it be the way we want it to be, to control, to where we finally just let it go. And it's in that letting go that that's when all of what we were struggling for makes itself present. You know, that's when we have our revelation, that empowers us to be in the place of fulfilling our purpose. But the other stuff, all that struggle, all that suffering is honing us and shaping us and refining us and allowing us to have the understanding of the process, right? So the process of healing, like, let's say that you're destined to be a healer and a teacher. Well, in order to do that, we need to know what it is to be unhealed, right? We need to have an awareness and a deep understanding of what it is to be moving through those struggles. It's the struggles and the triumph over those struggles and the transformation that they have catalyzed that make us competent and capable. It's the training that is required to become what we're here to become. And it's sort of this awful paradox that's maybe not so awful. Maybe it's rather beautiful. You know, like the struggles and pain that we endure are the transformative fire that enable us the wisdom. You know, you don't just wake up wise. I mean, maybe there are some people that are incarnated that have recollection of past lives and past learnings, you know, that come in with that wisdom. But mostly the wisdom that we have in life is wisdom that is learned through the fire and through the tests and through the choices and through the stumbles and through the adversities that we then recover from and reassemble ourselves. And you know, we have these various iterations of ourselves through our lives as we evolve. And you don't get to skip the evolution to get to where you want to get to. And so we wish away these parts of our lives that are challenging, right? The hard stuff, the heartbreaking stuff, the seemingly insurmountable challenges. You know, we try to wish them away. Lisa says, I have so many scorch marks. You and me both, Lisa, right? And scorch marks and scars and wounds, etc. And those, all of those are our credentials in some way, you know, like that's your part of your diploma. You know, those scorch marks are reminders of our passage. And so the thing is that we tend to want to wish life away until we get to the good part, which was a quote from this person yesterday. And the truth is, it's all shaping us all the time. And in that respect, even the worst of it is part of the good part, because it's making us who we're becoming. You know, that we don't get there without the scorch marks. You're somebody whose life has been charmed is not the person who is going to be able to shepherd someone through the darkest night of the soul, because they haven't been there, because they have no concept of it, because they can't fathom it. It takes someone who's been through it to be able to be present to someone going through it, right? So we don't get to be there without going there. So Lisa says, can't go over it, can't go under it, have to go through it. And that's the fire. It's true. It's true. And so how could I possibly have compassion for someone who's suffering if I've never suffered? How could I imagine I could heal somebody or facilitate someone's healing without having experienced needing healing myself? There may be people who could. There may be people who are blessed with that insight and wisdom. But for the most part, what shapes us are these challenges. And this is part of our purpose. The anxiety and the anguish around not knowing what our purpose is, the pain of that. I remember crying and just begging to know what my purpose was. And the absolute despair and profound yearning that was behind that. But that's part of it. So that when you discover it, you feel the freedom of it, the commitment of it, the life that it gives. So the challenges on the way there are not extraneous. We don't get to pass them by. And in fact, the irony is, the less we resist that, the more we allow that it is perfect in its unfolding, even if it doesn't meet my timeline or my idea of how it should be, the further along we are. The more we can be present, the more we can receive the lessons, the more we can grow with those lessons. Lisa says, when my mom was dying, one night we went to her. We went to the ER. She had a doctor who only knew cancer through a book. He had zero concept of pain or loss. That made him a doctor without compassion. I tried to explain, you'll understand when you go through this yourself. Lisa, you're speaking such important truth there. So a doctor who hasn't experienced the pain of loss, the fear, who is understanding cancer as an academic, and from an academic rather than a human insight, can't be a healer, can't, they're a mechanic. There's a big difference. And they're probably not the greatest mechanic either, because we're not machines. And without understanding the emotion and the human part of it, you're missing more than half of what's going on, right? I'm so sorry, Lisa. Lisa says he was let go from the hospital afterwards, as he should have been, as he should have been. I have a friend who just had a doctor who was horrible, and said to them, you have diabetes, right? He was like, what? No. What kind of attitude is that? What kind of way is that to be interacting with someone who's experiencing a profoundly life-altering medical challenge? What kind of way is that to talk to somebody? I mean, just appalling. And so when we get to when we experience these moments of despair and frustration and wanting things to be different, we have an opportunity to embrace what is. When we can rise to that challenge, I'm not saying it's easy, when things are really tough and life is just pressing us for all that we can give, or all that we can be, or all that we can endure, to recognize that even those moments are shaping us for what we came here to be, who we came here to be. So that's the message for today. Like, this moment too is part of the plan. We don't get to pick and choose the moments we want, even all the suffering. And the thing is that the suffering, in so many respects, is self-generated through our resistance, through our belief that it should be different, through our wanting something else instead, through thinking things should be something other than they are. So we create our own suffering. And that coming to the place of that revelation gives us the opportunity to move beyond the suffering. It's the extreme of the suffering that maybe wakes us up to our freedom from it. That's the irony, that's the challenge. You know, once we recognize that we don't get to, that life happens as life happens, not on our time frame and our agenda, right? When we allow ourselves to flow with life, then the magic starts happening. It's crazy the way that works, you know, let go of it and that's when it comes. I always hated that. What do you mean? Let go of it and then it comes, you know? And it doesn't mean, okay, I'll let go so it'll come, because you can't do that either, because you haven't really let go of it in the first place, right? And so Lisa says, what an important message it is. It is. Like, this is it. These moments, these are the moments you came here for. Whatever they look like. Suffering until we stop suffering, struggling until we stop struggling, resisting until we stop resisting. That's how it works. That's how it works. You don't get to skip to the good part. You have to go through the figuring it out. Anyway, I gotta run. So I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. I go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page, the Enlightened World Network YouTube channel, and I invite you to check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network, EWN One with the Earth, Enlightened World Living, and Rosalind says, unattachment, let go. Easier said than done, right? Anyway, so much love to you. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you again here really, really soon. So much love to you.